and I can crop it as well
Okay.
to make sure. Whenever you're ready.
I'm ready if you're ready.
All right. So how have things been since the last time I saw you?
Things have been pretty good,
Okay.
but I'm still just really stressed out with pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Work, I've pulled over 40 hours, like overtime, and then still having to make sure I have time for classwork is really stressing me out because after I get off of work, I just want to lay down and not do anything else, like completely just drained. So I've gotten a little bit behind on my classwork.
Okay.
But other than that, I think I've been doing pretty good. I've been wanting to go out more, try and make new friends, but I just don't. I kind of talk myself out of it like all the time, just because meeting new people is kind of scary, even though like I work with people all the time. It's just different, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most distressed, how would you say that your feelings of being overwhelmed?
Probably like a solid 7 or 8.
Okay.
I'd say it's pretty up there. Everything's just been going really, really quick, and it's like I don't have time to just like breathe.
Yeah.
So
Sounds like lots going on. So I think if it's okay, I'd like to share a modality with you. I think that could be really helpful.
Okay.
It has a lot to do with feelings and thoughts and behaviors, and I like to think of it kind of like a triangle, but like a moving triangle.
Okay.
So it's called cognitive behavioral therapy, which is a goal-oriented and collaborative approach that focuses on the connections between those thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. It offers a great tool to manage those thoughts and emotions. So like the triangle, like thoughts to feelings, and then how those affect behaviors, and then how those behaviors directly affects those thoughts, and just trying to really understand how that is pretty much a circle and how it can affect our everyday lives. Is that something that you're interested in?
Yeah, it honestly sounds like the butterfly effect kind of deal. So
Yeah,
that's
absolutely. Yeah, awesome. So I know I've heard you talk a lot about being overwhelmed, and is that something that you want to explore?
Yes, mainly because whenever I feel overwhelmed, I feel like I lose control of it. So just like being able to just like calm myself down and stuff is something I really need to work on.
Yeah. So I'm hearing maybe thoughts of overwhelmed lead to the feelings.
Yeah, it definitely promotes a body response of just like, I guess like if I'm overwhelmed and I'm like in public and I'm like doing, like I have to go get something done with my car that stresses me out or whatever, and I'm in public and having to deal with some people, like I'll start shaking my leg, or I'll just like try and focus on other things instead of like the people, or like I'll go to the bathroom or something, just so
Yeah, so how do those behaviors of being overwhelmed, how do those lead into thoughts?
It's just kind of like, oh, everything's hitting me all at once, like am I like not strong enough, but I guess strong enough to like handle this, like I don't have control over this, like this isn't what's supposed to be happening, I guess, because I guess I equate negative thoughts with like, oh, like I shouldn't be doing this, even if it's just like I need to get over the overwhelmed feelings, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, so it sounds, I mean, just going a lot back to that feeling of overwhelmed and almost like your gut response to that, and how that perpetuates even more overwhelmedness. So why do you, I know we've been talking about a lot about being overwhelmed. Is there like a stem from that, do you think? Or how do you come to the conclusion of like the overwhelming feeling?
That's one I'm gonna have to think about. I don't really know, if that makes sense. I guess like I'm not very aware of it.
It's okay.
As much as I feel like I should be.
Yeah, it's totally okay to feel that way too. Absolutely. So, so when you're feeling overwhelmed and that comes to those thoughts and then the behaviors, have you found anything that really helps with that cycle?
A little. I try to like color or like I'll go to the beach, just to de-stress when I have time. I think I've done that maybe once or twice in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I've been trying. It's just hard sometimes finding the time. But
those sound like great coping skills and great distillation skills. The fact that you've already done them, I think that is definitely a strength. Kind of thinking about the flip side too, do you know of anything that you do that maybe make it worse?
Probably just keeping myself like inside all the time. I don't go out as much as like my roommates and stuff do. I kind of just stay to myself in my room when I have like my days off and stuff. That probably is something that makes it go in like the negative direction. Because definitely human interaction is something that people need.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just hard to interact with people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, still going back to that core feeling of being overwhelmed, it can be really easy to try and just de-escalate all of the stimulants in our lives. So that's understandable. So we talked a little bit about like some of the positive coping skills and some maybe more negative ones. Have you noticed anything happening in your life recently that maybe has attributed to this?
Something that's happened recently that attributes to like the positive side of me not being as stressed is I recently got a new car after not having one for a while. So that helps me out a lot financially because all I have to do is make like a small loan payment. But now I don't have to spend so much money on Lyfts and like Ubers, so I can get to work.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. That has been a positive thing for me. So
yeah.
And I just try to like keep that in the back of my head. If like the negative starts getting too overwhelming, I have to start and be like, okay, like I have a car, like everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah, I think those positive thoughts are extremely helpful to how we think about feelings and thought patterns, and it sounds like you have already sort of started that cycle of changing those thoughts to being positive. So that's really awesome. So we talked a little bit about like having things being overwhelmed in public areas and that. Can we talk a little bit about like perspective in public and how that may attribute to those feelings of being overwhelmed?
Yes. So when I go in public, sometimes my brain gets to me and it just makes me feel or like think that everyone is like so focused on me, and that like if I do like one weird thing, like everyone's gonna like look at me and be like, what is she doing? And kind of like that judgmental factor.
Yeah,
that's a big one. But it's weird because like if I'm with my family or something, like that doesn't like that thought leaves.
Okay. Yeah, I think being aware of that is super helpful for the situation. Is there anything whenever you go out in public, does that belief how does that like affect your life of having those feelings whenever you go out in public?
Sometimes it just makes me a little scared to like be myself, even when it comes to like outfits. It's like if I know I'm going in public, I either want to look really good or I'll like try something that's like basic that like other people wear, so like I don't really get looked at weird. Yeah.
I mean, little things or things that seem little like that, but they actually have a huge impact, I think, on ourselves and how we present ourselves is and can be a direct assessment of how we're feeling. So I think even sort of like going back to that triangle, like that behavior of, okay, I'm gonna dress a certain way because of my thoughts and because of the feelings and how that's affecting how I'm gonna present myself or how I want other people to perceive me. Something really important, I think, to be aware of.
Yeah. I've been trying to lean away from it. So like I'll buy clothes that like I normally wouldn't, or like I would look at and be like, oh my god, I would love that. I would love to style that. Like I wouldn't get. So like I've been trying to like implement that. So like I try to wing myself out of caring about people's perspective of me and how they perceive me, because that's a big thing.
Yeah. Something very innately human about that as well. So I hope you don't feel like that's just uniquely to you.
I will say that was good to hear, because sometimes it feels like I'm soloed out on that one. Oh. So knowing that like it is innately human is nice to hear.
Absolutely. I think, everyone has their things and their perceptions, and being human is about how we interact with others and how we think that others will interact with us. So definitely not alone in that one.
I appreciate that.
Of course. Yes. Yeah. Let's see. So I know you talked about a little, just to go back to the how people perceive you, just sort of, not a worst case scenario, but like what's that core belief of thinking people are gonna think a certain way of you? Could we explore that a little bit?
Let me see. I think it could like come from just me not wanting people to think badly about me, because I kind of feel like I'm a very good person. So like if someone were to look at me and think, oh, like the way she's dressed, she's a delinquent, like that would just terrify me, because like I don't want to be perceived that way. Because I really try to do good, and I try to do my best. So like I think that's a big thing for me.
Absolutely.
Like even with my tattoos and stuff, like just like I don't want to get anything too crazy. Even like this one, which I get compliments on it all the time, which is reassuring.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah.
I think that's my biggest one, is just people thinking negatively.
Okay. Yeah.
Which shouldn't matter.
No.
But it does, I guess.
Yeah. Sounds like that's a pretty big thing in your life. So what, kind of on the flip side of that, what could we assume other people are thinking about?
Since I spend all of my time like in a store, like working, I could just assume that they are solely there to buy stuff. And they do not care about me in that sense. And I try to tell myself all the time, like if I'm out in public, like just by myself running errands and stuff, I'm like, these people are doing the exact same thing. Like they're worried about what they need to get, they're worried about what they're doing, they're worried about the friends that they're with, or their own personal stuff. Like they could be worrying about the same thing that I am right now. And it helps sometimes, but then other times it's just get kind of eaten by the overwhelming and the anxiousness of it. But yeah.
I mean, that's another innately human thing too, is, people are just like us. We're all people, and we truly, like, most of the time we're thinking about ourselves and not so much like what we're seeing in other people. And I think that could be, like as you said, something, grounding, absolutely, out in public. You notice, or you said that you notice that sometimes it doesn't help. Can we run through a scenario where it's not helped?
Let me think of one. I don't think I can think of one.
Okay, yeah, no, that's totally okay. We don't have to. Absolutely. Yeah. Let's see. So, can we maybe think of, we talked about coloring and doing some art, and that's been a great coping skill. Do you want to explore any other ones maybe that we could do in public?
Yes, I think that would be nice. Something I can have just like quick on hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So have you noticed anything for you specifically? Like if you're out in public, I know we talked about those positive self-thoughts have helped to ground before, but
yeah, I don't know, sometimes when I'm trying to do that, I just like kind of forget everything else. So like I forget to breathe, and then I'm like, whoa, why am I like out of breath just standing here? So I know that like online I've seen people talk about like breathing techniques and stuff, but I don't know how well those would work.
Yeah, I'm a huge advocate for them. We can practice one now if you want it.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah. So they're called bubble breaths. It's because you're gonna breathe in for 4 seconds, and then you're gonna hold it for 4 seconds, and then as you breathe out, you're gonna picture like you're blowing bubbles. So it'll help calm your nervous system a little bit, and it's a good visual as well as I think to really focus on your breathing, as well as like try and get your mind off of whatever's making you overwhelmed. So we can practice now if you'd like.
Okay.
Awesome.
So
I can narrate it if you like. So we're gonna breathe in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're gonna hold it for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're gonna let it out, but picture you're blowing bubbles, so it'll come out in little spurts. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, and you can do that as many times as you need. Another part that I like to incorporate sometimes is if I'm really feeling overwhelmed and I need to do that, then I'll just go find a very quiet aisle and I'll just sit and just really take in the environment and think over, that thought triangle of like, okay, I know where my behavior's at right now, or I'm holding my breath. And so next I'm going to control that next thought of, okay, the thought's going to be the bubbles coming out, and really just think about that nervous system and control those next feelings. And hopefully next feelings are, that calming breath exercise. And then the next behavior, I like to look around at what's around me, practice a little bit of mindfulness, whether that's like feeling how the tile's cold underneath my hands or my feet, or looking at what's on the shelves around me. I think that could be super.
I like that.
Awesome. But yeah.
I'm definitely gonna be trying those out within the next week.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, that can go into a little bit of an action plan as well. If you'd like to try those out a little bit before next week, and we can talk about how maybe that's helped or not helped, or whatever we really need to. Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Awesome. Thank you. For closing, did you have any thing else that you want to talk about today?
I don't necessarily think so. Just like one quick question.
Yeah,
when you
of course.
say action plan, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so it's kind of like homework, but I know personally, I think a lot of us have like a negative connotation about homework, but I think it can be extremely helpful to have more of like a plan of, okay, like worst case scenario, or just little things that we can do and keep track of ourselves to better ourselves and keep that working outside of the therapy modality and bring that to the next session.
Okay, I like that, to be honest. I just wasn't sure. I just want to make sure. I
Of
always
course.
love a plan.
Yeah.
A plan is always nice.
Absolutely. Questions are always good too.
But I think that is all, to be honest.
Awesome. Yeah, do you want to do the same time next week?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.